In this lesson, we will see many different things. One is that we will start seeing the ownership and functions, very important, this is linked to the previous lesson. Then we will see return values and scope for functions, and then we'll finally make an introduction to borrowing and references, mutable references, multiple references, mutable and immutable references, very important part. And the last part is dangling references, references to a place in the memory that has no value. And then we will talk about two simple references rules. Ownership and function, how it does work. Let's see this with a couple of examples. Let's use a variable which is an integer. Let's call this int function. Let's call this fn call underscore int. I remember you that we have a snake case for Rust, and here we print it. Here in the main function we call this function and we print this after. So after calling the function, the value of I is I. Cargo run -q, call int I 5, and then after calling the function, the value of I is 5. This should not be surprising. We call this function that basically prints the value, and then we print the value after. What if we do the same with a string? Let s string from hello. We create a function called callString function. We call this function callString that prints the string in input. Then here we call this string. Cargo run -q. Okay, we have the previous output, call string as hello. What if I do here something like this? Something similar to what I did with the integer. Cargo run -q, error. Let's read the error. Borrow of moved value. We talked about the move trait in the previous lesson. Move occurs because as type string, which does not implement the copy trait. The copy trait is for variables that are on the stack. The problem here is this. When we call the function on line 8, here we are switching the ownership. We are basically the s is moved inside this function. And probably this is not what we wanted to have. Maybe we just want to use this string with a function, but we don't want to stop to have this s in this scope. Rust by default doesn't know this. Calling a function with some parameter is very similar to the assignment, to when we were doing like let s2 equal s1, we define an s1. So let's try to solve this problem. Because with functions we can also take and give ownership. Let's try this. Let's remove all of these ownership and functions, and let's talk about return values and scopes. Let's create two functions. One is to function to give ownership. We give ownership using a function, fn give ownership, that returns a string. I remember you that this arrow, it means that we return a string. As a string, we can say hello from give ownership, so we understand that we use this one, and then we return this string. Here we can have also a function that takes and give back an ownership. How? We get a string in input and a string in output. Function take and give ownership, some string, and then some string again. And here in the main function, let s1 equal to give ownership. Print the value of s1. I want to define a second string called s2 equal string from hello from main. We define a third variable s3 calling the function take and give ownership s2. And then we can print this s3 like this. Let's try to run it and let's see if this does work. So we have as output s1 hello from give ownership. We define this s1 equal to this function that basically returns a string. This function returns this string that then gets inside this s1 variable, and we simply print it. We define a string s2 as a hello from main. And then s3 calls a function, takes and give ownership, that basically returns a string with a string in input, and as a string in input we use s2. And then if we print s3, we have hello from main, which is basically the content of s2. If we try to print s2 on line 11, calc_run-q, we still get an error. So the s2 moved because we called this function, take and give ownership, with s2 as a parameter. How can we use some variables as inputs in a function but also get the ownership back? Let's see a very good example, I think. We have a string and we want to calculate the length of the string. Calculate the length of a string. We have this function, so this function will get a string as an input and will return a tuple of a string, which is basically the string that we got in input, just because we don't want to lose ownership, so we'll get it back. And then we'll also return a number, which is the size of the string. We define this variable called length, and we use this len method available, of course, for the strings, and we return a tuple. It seems an overkill, like we are getting the s in input and we return the s in output. And then here we can do this. Let s1 string from hello, so we create this one, and then we define a tuple with s2 and len, calculate length based on s1, and then we finally print the length of s2 and len. calc_run-q, we can read here, this is correct, so the length of hello is 5. What's the problem here? The problem here that is, this is something very simple, so we want just to calculate the length of hello. Maybe I don't want to use a tuple as a return type because I just want to return the string that I got in input because I don't want to lose it. Do you agree that this is very cumbersome and complicated, and think about doing something more not that trivial? This might become quickly a nightmare. We are using an additional type here just to calculate the length. What I would like to have is I have a string and this function just return the number. Let's try to fix this to make it more lightweight and more easy to understand. So to do this, first of all, I want to get rid of this string type as a return type. So let's remove this. I want to just return the number, which is the size of the string, right? So let's return just this length. We can leave it as it is. We want to define not this s2. I want to get rid of this. So let len equal calculate length as 1, and then here as 1. If I do this and I try to run this, I get an error. It's the same problem that we had before. I don't have s1 anymore once I call this function calculate length. Okay, so how can we solve this? We can, instead of passing this s1, I can pass a reference. This part is very important. So instead of passing s1, we pass a reference, ampersand s1, and here we are passing this reference to the string. And if I try like this, calc_run-q, I still get an error, but I get a different error, mismatched types, expected string found at string, because this is a different type. Even in this function calculate length, the type of s is not string, but is ampersand string. Let's try. And now it's working. This is the big difference. Here we are defining a variable of a string. Then we create this function that has a reference as a parameter. Then we pass this reference to the s1, and then we can still use s1. This is the big difference. When we pass this at the end of the scope of this function, nothing is dropped here. We don't remove the reference to the s1 string. We can also check here references. We have this at string. This is the code that we just wrote. At string is a reference. It allows to refer to some value, but the crucial part is that we are not taking ownership of the variable when we use it. This is exactly what we want. We just want to use a reference to use this, for example, inside a function. This is a classical example. And this is what we have. We have this s, which has a pointer to this s1 pointer that has this reference to the hello. At s1, line 4, very important, creates a reference to the s1 value, but it doesn't own it. We don't want ownership in this case. We just want to pass the reference to the value. In this function, we have this at string as a type of the parameter. The action of creating a reference is called borrowing. Can we change a borrowed value? Function to change borrowed value. Okay, so we have this function, so we want to change the borrowed value. And here we have let s equal string from hello, and then we call this function. Let's run this with cargo run-q, and we see errors. There are different errors, okay? This variable s needs to be mutable. If this is not mutable, nothing is happening here. That's right. Okay, but we still have some problem here. Cannot borrow s as mutable as it's behind an at reference. So a reference by default is immutable, and this should not surprise us because also variables by default they are not immutable. Line 8 s colon at mute string. Let's follow what they are suggesting. At mute string, I changed the line 8. Let's try again. We have still an error, but it's a different one, which is usually good. Types differ, of course, because here we are using a mutable reference in the signature of the function. We should do the same also here. So line 4 at mute s. Ctrl L. And of course I need to print it. Let's print it. Cargo run-q. Hello world. Okay, but we didn't have any error, so this was just a matter of printing something on the screen to see if this does work. Let's try something else. Let's say that we have this mutable string here, and I want to create multiple mutable references. So I want to have let s1 equal mutable s, let s2 mutable s, and then we want to print this value. Cargo run-q. Bam! Error. Again. Cannot borrow s as a mutable more than once at a time. And you should be surprised here, because in many programming languages I can mutate how many times I want. They really don't care. If I have an error at a runtime, it will be my own problem. Here, the Rust compiler is very annoying, but it's trying basically to save our life, because by default we can't have more than one mutable reference in the same scope. So we can have, of course, multiple mutable references, but not in the same scope. So for example, in this case, instead of having something like this, I should do something like this. I can create another scope, s1.push, so we have hello world. Outside this we can have another mutable reference, and we can do s2.push string with the exclamation mark, and then print ln s2. When s2 kicks in, here the value of s is hello world. Now let's see, mutable and immutable references. Let's try to make this even harder, and let's try to mix mutable and immutable variables. Let mute s, let s1 equal to reference to s, let s2 equal to ampersand s, two immutable references, and then we create let s3 equal mutable reference. Cargo run-q. Bam. Error. Cannot borrow s as a mutable reference because it is also borrowed as immutable. That's the problem. So the problem is not to have multiple immutable reference. The problem is that we have a mutable reference right below an immutable reference. So in the same scope, basically the Rust compiler can't understand what we are doing with this immutable reference if we just use the mutable reference here. What if I do this? Print ln s1, s2, and here I do print ln s3. Cargo run -q. It works. If we have immutable references and we do something, the Rust compiler understands, okay, we are doing something with s1 and s2 here, and then we have this mutable reference. So in this case, it works. We are almost done. I just want to talk you about dangling references. So we create a function called dangle. This function will return a reference to a string. Inside this function, we declare a variable called s, which is the classic string from hello. But then we return the reference to this string, which is valid. We can always refer to the reference to the string. The problem is that here, if I do let ref value, dangle, what's the problem here? We are referring to something that doesn't exist anymore. Here we'll drop the s value because here we end this scope. This reference to s is available here when we are typing %s, but then the scope ends and we don't have the s value anymore. Let's see how the Rust compiler will behave in this case. Cargo run -q, and indeed we have an error, which is great in this case, trust me. In this case you are returning something which for sure this will not exist, because we are returning a reference to the s variable, but here we drop the s, calling the drop function at the end of this scope. So I say, hey, this code will not work. What we can do here, for example, is to, instead of returning the reference to the string, we can return the string itself, the string that is defined, of course, inside this function. Let me rename, even if it's not necessary, this function, not dangle, just so we don't get confused. Here we call it not dangle, cargo run -q. Of course, we should print it. But we see, in this case, we get just a warning, cargo run -q again, and in this case, we get hello. The Rust compiler is handling the dangling references by default, by itself, and this is amazing. It's amazing that we can handle this at compile time. This was our first lesson about references and borrowing in Rust. Two important rules. Number one, at any given time, you can have either one mutable reference or any number of immutable references, and we can't mix them in the same scope unless we create some inner scope, for example using a print statement, or we do something with those immutable references. And rule number two, references must always be valid. The Rust compiler will refuse to compile if we create some dangling references at compile time, and this is amazing, to be honest. It's an amazing feature that we can fix all these dangling references not on runtime but at compile time.